This video will show you how to perform a two-sample t-test using R. So as before, we are using the diet t-test dataset. To load it into R, I first need to set my working directory, which basically tells R where to find the dataset. So to do this, I have typed set wd working directory, open brackets, and then in speech marks the directory, close brackets. So if we do this, then this means that we are in our working directory. Alternatively, we can go to Session, Set Working Directory, choose Directory, and then just click on the folder where you'll find your file. Then next, we need to read the dataset into R. So to do this, I have typed read.csv as the file is a CSV file, open brackets, and then in speech marks the name of the file as it appears in the folder, close brackets. And then I've assigned this dataset to an R object called myData. So if we just do this, then you can see that the dataset appears in the R environment. So if we just click on myData, then here we have the dataset. Because we are performing a t-test on two independent samples rather than paired samples, we'll be looking at the difference in total weight loss, which is this column here, between diet 1 and diet 2, which is this column here, as these are two independent sets of people. Whereas, for example, if we wanted to look at the start weight and end weight of diet 1, our two samples consist of two readings from the same group of people. So this is what we mean when we say that we are doing an independent two-sample t-test rather than a paired two-sample t-test. So to perform our t-test in R, we next need to type t.test, open brackets, and then the name of the dependent variable, which is total weight lost, then a tilde sign, and then the independent variable, which is our grouping variable, and which in this case is diet. So these two variable names need to appear exactly as they do in your data set, so as you can see here. Then we need to tell R where to get this information from. So we need to say data equals myData. So we need to tell R that the data is coming from our R object called myData. And then what we will do is we'll assign the results to an R object called res. And whilst you don't necessarily need to do this, it is good practice as it means that you can manipulate the results after you've done the t-test. So we can do this. So as you can see, the results come up in our environment, and then we will show the results by entering res. So let's go through this output of our two-sample t-test. So first of all, we have our t-statistic here. So this basically measures the size of the difference in means relative to the variation in the sample data. So the greater the magnitude of t, the greater the evidence against a null hypothesis, which in this case is that there is no difference in weight loss between the diets. Next, we have the DF, degrees of freedom, which is the sample size, so in this case 51, minus 1 for each group. So we have two groups in this example, so it's 49. Next, we have the p-value, which indicates whether the difference in weight loss is statistically significant between our two groups. So usually anything below 0.05 is statistically significant. So in this case, there is not a statistically significant difference between the two groups of diets in their means. Then we have the 95% confidence interval, which defines the range of values that you can be 95% certain contains the overall population mean. And then we have the estimated sample means for the two different groups. So diet 1 likely has a mean of around 3.3 and diet 2 likely has a mean of around 3.02. So that is your quick summary of how to do a two-sample independent t-test in R using RStudio.